let's be real. If you feel like your wallet is being squeezed tighter and tighter, you are definitely not alone. As we look ahead to 2026, some everyday essentials are on track to become, well, pretty unaffordable. But here's the good news. Being prepared can make all the difference in the world. So let's break down the 5 key areas to watch and, more importantly, what you can actually do about them right now. And it's not just a feeling. It's backed up by data. This stat from Bankrate is pretty eye-opening. About 1 in 3 Americans thinks their financial situation is going to get worse in 2026. That's the highest number they've ever recorded. And that widespread anxiety is exactly why we need to have this conversation. But look, anxiety without a plan is just stress, right? The goal here isn't to scare you. It's to cut through the noise, get a super clear picture of what's actually changing, and build a real, concrete strategy to handle it. So, let's get into the specifics. Now this right here is the core idea, and it comes from the investment firm BlackRock. They're saying that the old days, where you could almost blindly throw your money at something and come out ahead, those days are over. 2026 is shaping up to be a year where careful, strategic planning, thinking like an investor, is what's going to separate the people who succeed from those who don't. First up, let's talk about the biggest expense for most of us, housing. And this is an area where costs aren't just going up, they're getting a lot more complicated. So check this out. MoneyWise talks about something called the McMansion Trap, and these numbers are just staggering. 94% of Gen Z and 86% of millennial first-time sellers had regrets. That's a huge amount of buyer's remorse. It comes from that pressure to buy the biggest, nicest house you can possibly qualify for. But the smarter play, it's right-sizing. Buying a home that fits comfortably in your budget, that's what gives you breathing room and a real shot at financial freedom. And it's not just the mortgage either. The cost to simply protect your home is climbing fast. That 8% you see here, that's just the average increase for homeowners insurance. If your premium is already high, that could easily be hundreds of extra dollars a year. So why the huge spike? Well, according to Yale Climate Connections, it's a mix of things. They're pointing to more frequent climate-related events and shifts in policy as the main drivers. It's a perfect example of how these huge global trends can trickle all the way down and hit you right in your monthly budget. Okay, from the roof over your head, let's move on to the next category, the everyday costs of keeping the lights on and just getting around town. These are the expenses that hit us week after week. When it comes to your utility bills, there are some potential policy changes on the horizon. Now, this quote comes from a press release by the House Appropriations Committee Democrats. They're claiming that a proposed funding bill for 2026 could mean higher utility bills for everyone. It's a really clear example of how decisions made in D.C. can have a direct impact on your wallet. Now, let's talk about transportation. Wow. If you've even thought about buying a new car lately, you have probably felt this sticker shock. Kelley Blue Book reports the average price just blew past $50,000. That is a massive number that puts a brand new car completely out of reach for a lot of people. But hey, it's not all bad news. While the car itself is more expensive, what you put in it might be a bit more manageable. The U.S. Energy Information Administration is actually forecasting that average gas prices will hang around $3 a gallon in 2026. So maybe a little relief at the pump. And there's even more good news on the car front, believe it or not. Car insurance rates, which have been climbing like crazy, are actually starting to drop in some states. We're seeing rates go down by almost 6% in Louisiana, with similar trends in places like Florida. So you can see transportation costs are really a mixed bag. All right, our third area is a big one. It's one of the most critical and, frankly, one of the most unpredictable expenses we all face: the price of health. So, there's a pretty major policy change coming in October of 2026. A new rule in the H.R. 1 law is going to change who's eligible for Medicaid. It's going to affect groups like refugees and asylees. What this means in plain English is that for a lot of people who used to qualify, affordable health coverage could suddenly be gone. But just like with cars, the healthcare story has two different sides. We are seeing some pretty significant price draws for some really popular prescription drugs. Think about medications like Ozempic and Zepbound. For the millions of people who use these, that is a very welcome dose of financial relief. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about the fun budget, your lifestyle and leisure spending. Now, these costs are also going up, but this is the one category where you, the consumer, are totally in the driver's seat. You have the most immediate power to make a change right here. And this chart tells the whole story. A concert ticket that was about $92 back in 2019 shot up to over $122 by 2025. Reuters data shows that the cost of just going out and having an experience has been climbing faster than a lot of other things. It just costs more to have a night out. But, and this is a big but, here is where you can take back control. Look at that number. 56%. You could potentially cut your monthly streaming bill by more than half with just a few clever moves. This isn't about giving up your favorite shows. It's just about being smarter with your subscriptions. And here's exactly how you do it. TechRadar lays out a super simple plan. First, drop a tier. Let's be honest. Do you really need 4K quality on every single screen? Second, get over the ads. The ad-supported plans can save you a ton of money. And third, here's the pro move, subscription hopping. Binge what you want on Netflix, pause it, then hop over to another service. It's a simple trick that can save you hundreds of dollars a year. So we've covered housing, daily costs, health, and leisure. But the fifth and maybe the most critical thing you can't afford in 2026 is uncertainty. Flying blind without a financial plan is a luxury none of us really have anymore. So let's build your playbook. Look, the foundation of any good plan is a solid budget, and it doesn't have to be complicated. This is the 50-30-20 rule, which was highlighted in a CBS News report. It's so simple and effective. 50% of your after-tax income goes to your absolute needs. 30% goes to your wants, your lifestyle stuff, and a crucial 20% goes straight to your financial goals, like savings and paying off debt. And this is where the rubber meets the road. These are the big, high-impact moves that experts at places like Vanguard and JP Morgan recommend. First, attack that high-interest debt. It's like a weight on your finances. Next, do not leave free money on the table. Get your full 401k match from your employer. Then put your savings on autopilot so you don't even have to think about it. And finally, use some of the new AI budgeting tools out there to build a system that actually works for your real life. Here's the thing. The data shows that median household income has been going up, but earning more money is only half the battle. What this chart really drives home is that it doesn't matter how much you make if you don't have a smart, deliberate plan for that money. That's what's going to make it work for you, especially in a year like 2026. And that brings us right back to where we started. As you get ready for 2026, this is the one question you really need to ask yourself. Is your financial plan built for an investor's market or a gambler's? Are you making thoughtful long-term moves, or are you just crossing your fingers and hoping for the best? Because in this new environment, preparation isn't just a nice to have, it's everything.